of the State of Michigan versus Matthew Tuttle, docket number 20-213FH. This was the time set for a pretrial conference. As I understand it, it is going to be a plea, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Tuttle, before we start that, I had you down with no address, but you sent me a letter saying you actually do have an address on Prospect, is that right?
Yes, it's either 2415 or 2514. I got the 5 and the 4 mixed up, but it's one of the two. That's why I put the
Okay.
area.
Okay. And just tell me, how far did you go in school?
I have my GD.
Okay, very good. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Tuttle, you have the right to be represented by an attorney. You are represented today by Mr. Petrovich. And Mr. Petrovich, I believe this is a plea to count 1, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then will you waive reading of counts 2 and 3?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Allen, would you read count 1, please?
In the People of the State of Michigan versus Matthew James Tuttle, file 20-213-FH, State of Michigan, County of Ingham. In the name of the people of the State of Michigan, the prosecuting attorney for this county appears before the court and informs the court that on or about February 25th, 2020, at 2020 West Grand River Avenue, Meridian Township, Ingham County, the defendant did in count 1 assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, oppose, or endanger Officer Adam Slavic and or Officer Jacqueline Allen, a police officer of Meridian Township Police Department that the defendant knew or had reason to know was performing his or her duties contrary to Michigan law. This is a felony punishable by up to 2 years and or $2,000. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under Michigan law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement or for another violation arising from the same transaction and was committed against the peace and dignity of the State of Michigan.
Mr. Tuttle, you're being charged here with resisting and obstructing. That is a felony punishable by up to 2 years in prison. There is also, if you were on parole at the time, it would be a mandatory consecutive sentence, or in this case, it could be a discretionary consecutive sentence if you were on bond, or if it was committed in a place of confinement. Have you had enough time to talk about this charge with your lawyer?
Yes, I have.
Do you understand the charge against you?
Yes, I do.
Do you have any questions about what we're doing today?
No, I don't, ma'am.
And how do you want to plead?
Guilty?
If your plea of guilty is accepted by this court, it means you won't have a trial of any kind, and you'll be giving up the rights that go along with a trial. That means you'll be giving up the right to a trial by jury, or if you didn't want trial by jury, trial by judge. Also, the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty, and to require the prosecutor to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You'll be giving up the right to have the witnesses against you appear at the trial and to be able to cross-examine them, to have this court order any witnesses that you might have to appear at the trial. Also, the right to remain silent at the trial and not to have your silence used against you, or to testify at the trial if you wanted to testify. Also, when you plead guilty, you don't get an automatic right to appeal. Instead, the higher court has to agree to hear your case. And also, you can't appeal issues that would have been appealable if you had had a trial. And do you understand those rights?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Also, if I accept your plea, it means you won't be able to come back later on and try to say that the plea was the result of some promise or threat that no one told me about today. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
And it also means you're giving up your right to come back later on and try to say that it really wasn't your own choice to plead guilty today. Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand that.
Okay, well, people do it, so that's why we tell you. Ms. Allen, is there a plea agreement?
There is, Your Honor. In this file, file 20-213-FH, in exchange for the defendant's successful plea and sentence on count 1, the people agreed to dismiss count 2 and 3. We also agreed to dismiss in full his other pending felony case, 20-336 19-FH, and 2 pending misdemeanor cases, 19-1071-SM and 19-4431-SM. The defendant does agree to pay full restitution on the dismissed files. In addition, the people have no objection to him receiving inpatient treatment in lieu of any jail time. We've discussed his desire for that in the past.
You're supposed to be.
Mr. Petrovich, is that a full and complete statement?
Nearly. There was one other aspect, I believe, that in previous conversation, there were a couple misdemeanor files that were still in screening that would not be issued. I believe that that was part of the agreement as well.
Sure, if there are any, we'll agree to not issue those. I think those were the 2 that did get issued that I named, but I'll make sure that part of this agreement, anything pending will not be issued. If there is restitution, we'll wrap it up with this one. I'll agree to that.
Okay,
Sure.
now is it a full and complete statement?
It is, Your Honor.
And Mr. Tuttle, is all of that your understanding as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you agree with all this?
Yes.
Now, right now, I don't know what your sentence will be, and I haven't made any deals with anyone about your sentence. Are you clear on that?
Yes, I am.
Has anyone promised you anything else in order to get you to plead guilty that hasn't been said here right now?
No.
Has anyone used any threats?
No.
Are you pleading guilty by your own choice?
Yes, I am.
And are you doing it because you believe you are in fact guilty of this offense?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay, we're talking about count 1, resisting and obstructing. Tell me what you did on or about February 25, 2020.
It was Dick night, and I was gonna steal a flashlight, and I was walking out of the bathroom at Best Buy, and when I got out of the bathroom, there were 2 officers at the door, and I wanted to go out and smoke a cigarette, and they said that I could, and I went to go run out anyway, and I was trying to get away.
Okay, so these were officers that were police officers in uniform, is that right?
One was, and the other one was plainclothes.
Okay, but you knew at least one of them to be a police officer?
Yes, I did.
And they were performing lawful duties, wanting you to stop there,
Yes, they were.
and you ran away?
Not very far, but yeah, I tried.
Okay, and that happened at 2020 West Grand River in Meridian Township, Ingham County, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Has the court complied with MCR 6.302, Ms. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Petrovich?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you aware of any promises, threats, or inducements other than those already placed on the record, Ms. Allen?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Petrovich?
No, Your Honor.
The court finds the plea is understandingly and voluntarily made without undue influence, threats, or promises of leniency. It is an accurate plea. It's supported by the testimony. The plea is accepted. Sentencing date is
5 or 6 weeks,
better do 6.
and it's August 17 at 2 o'clock, Monday, August 17.
Monday, August 17 at 2 o'clock. Does that work for you, Mr. Petrovich?
It does, Your Honor.
Okay. Then, Mr. Tuttle, you'll be back here on August 17th, Monday, August 17th at 2 o'clock. You'll receive a visit from someone from the probation department. In the meantime, they're going to want to interview you, so it's really important. Not a visit, a virtual visit. It's really important because it's for the report that I'll use for sentencing. Okay, do you have any questions?
Yes, what about, Mr. President, what about the personal recognizance bond?
Yes, I was going to ask to address bond after we got
Go
through.
right ahead, Mr. Petrovich.
Yes, Your Honor. I believe it was sparked by the letter that Mr. Tuttle did provide to the court, which we actually addressed a little bit earlier regarding his address at that point. I've had a chance to talk to Mr. Tuttle a few times on this. He is straightforward, and I believe he's about all of his history and the fact that in the past he's not been particularly, well, I think he's reached the point in his life where the contemplation, he has a plan of action to basically attack the things that are leading him to the course of conduct that's gotten him in trouble with the law on this. He's been actively working with cats. He's been working with them about the prospect of aftercare upon release and reentry into society. The address at 2415 is, I believe, a friend's house where he would be staying. He's also intending to see if he can get into an outpatient rehab facility. He's particularly fond of Rise Recovery as well. And he's also looking at all options because right now, with the current situation of the world, some places are difficult to get into because of the current social distancing requirements. I've also talked to him about the fact that, in effect, any misconduct or any failure to comply with all of his bond conditions, including remaining clean, including all the drug testing he may need to have, are going to, if he were to mess up between now and August 17th, then him coming back is going to be something where he's going to be facing a far more significant sentence. And in particular, if he were to say not come back on August 17th, I specifically talked to him about the fact that if he does that, he should expect to have a significant sentence if he comes back in the future. So I would ask that you allow Mr. Tuttle to be released on personal recognizance bond. And in addressing that as well, I looked him up on the Ingham County Jail site for what his holds are, and it does appear that he pretty much has this file and the 20-336 file that's being dismissed as part of this agreement with regards to the bonds that are holding him. There's $9,500 on this file, and I believe a $5,000 bond on the other file. And so I don't know as though the knowledge for the other file with the deal is going to be entered before sentencing, but I would also ask that should he be given a PR file, I know that we aren't here on the record on the 336 one, though, I'd ask you to consider reducing both files to personal recognizance to allow him to be out and to try to put his plan into action.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Allen, do the people have a position?
I actually handled this case, his other case at Bindover in district court, and I had no objection to his bond being reduced then. It was the SORA issue that the magistrate had, and that's why he didn't want Mr. Tuttle to be released on bond. So I still continue to not have an objection if we can verify his address. I also really want, at the time of Bindover, we were trying to get him into drug court, which he's ineligible for. So as long as, I can't make it a condition, but I really hope that he doesn't fall back into substance abuse issues while on bond. So if we can verify the address, I have no objection to him being released on bond.
Yes, this makes good sense to me as well. So I'll change your bond, Mr. Tuttle, to a $5,000 personal recognizance bond on this file and on the one that's going to be dismissed until that paperwork comes through. It would just be a better idea to do that, and that's on 20-336FH. So 5,000 personal recognizance bond on each one. And that's on a condition that you live at the verified address of 2415 East Prospect, okay? And also that you report to pretrial services. That'll be a phone report, but you'll need to check in with them as soon as you get out on bond. Will you do that, Mr. Tuttle?
Yes, I will.
Okay. And then make sure your attorney gave you good advice there, because any misconduct while you're out between now and sentencing, any violation of bond conditions or failure to appear on your sentencing date of August 17th could result in additional or higher sanctions in this case. So if you can follow all that, Mr. Tuttle, I think it's time that you get out of jail on this.
Thank you so much. I'm about to try not to cry right now. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, you're welcome. That was a nice letter you wrote to me.
Thank you. I meant every word.
Okay, then we're all set, and you can tell the jail there that you're all set with your hearing, Mr. Tuttle.
All right. Hey, I'm ready to blow this coop.